Hello and welcome everyone, I'm Madals and today I have a best of one game. It is a Terran versus Zerg. So let's get into this. It's spawning on Neoplanet S and in the bottom left position we have the blue Terran player from CM Storm. It's Polt. And his opponent spawning in the top right, the red Zerg from Quantic. It's HyuN. This should be good. Neoplanet S is one of these funky maps where strange things can start occurring, so that always leads me to a lot of fun. There's one game I'll always remember on Neoplanet S. It was at the 2013 Season 1 of ESET UK Masters. I believe it was a semi-final game between Mao's Hero Marine and Western Wolves Sting, and it was on Neoplanet S. And the reason it was so hilarious is because it ended up with each player having an orbital command, and one of them had like a Hellion and 3 Marines, and the other player had like a handful of Widow Mines. And it was just like, it went on for like 15-20 minutes of them just like literally bouncing up and down at different bases, calling down a couple of mules. Neither had any SCVs, and then just dancing their armies around. Eventually the Widow Mine player won, because as we all saw at WCS finals, Widow Mines are good no matter whether you're Zerg or not. And if you haven't seen that Widow Mine hit, then one, you don't spend enough time on basically any StarCraft 2 outlet news source, be it Reddit, Liquipedia, Team Liquid, Twitter, anything like that. Seriously, it was everywhere. Or you weren't watching WCS EU, and if you weren't watching that, boy, did you miss out. It was so good. The only part of that which was slightly fun was that when I logged in, at, I think it was, the high point was something like 110,000 viewers, and I just looked at the Twitch chat, which was, it was in slow mode, but it was still just going so fast. It was just pretty crazy, and everywhere there was ASCII images and things like that, and eventually the mods got back control, but it took them a little time. Now, in terms of opening at the moment, from Polt, we've got a Reaper opening up against a Hatchery first. This is fine for HyuN. He started up his gas after his spawning pool. The reason Reapers are quite nice in this map is because about a third of your main is a cliff, which means the Reapers can jump in and out quite easily, get a scout off, harass slightly. Reapers against Zerg aren't super effective, generally speaking, though. They don't... I think, like, if you get a drone kill with a Reaper, you're usually doing better than average with them. It's much more to get the scouting information, try and force some Zerglings, because the thing to remember is, even if you're not killing drones, if you're forcing Lings out early on, then they're not going to be drones, so you are still delaying the economy of a Zerg player slightly. So we see 4 Zerglings on their way out. The first queen started, the second queen started straight after. The natural base is getting taken here by Polt. And as we can see, HyuN with the overlord placement, he knows what's coming down. I believe he's even seen this Reaper, so shouldn't have too much to worry about. 6 Zerglings now are in production, so clearly that's a few more than you'd usually expect. Drones will get pulled back as they get hurt, and the key purpose of that is just that you run them away. If it worst comes to worst, you can put a spore crawler or something with them. It's better than them die. And now, we've just got a little bit of aggression coming down here from this Reaper. Gets a Zergling already. 2 more are about to pop. The Queens, once they come out, really do a nice job of shutting down Reapers, because they outrange them by so much. They can't ever get really killed by a Reaper. So, because of that, this Reaper will be forced back. He can regenerate, so can just keep harassing, can keep prodding and poking around. The Queen's pushing even further forward. Will be interesting to see whether we get a 3rd and 4th Queen out very soon from HyuN. I think it's a good idea always to get 4 Queens out, especially on this map, actually, because you can go a little bit safer or a little bit more greedy rather, and take only 3 queens. But the reason I really like 4 queens on Neoplanet S is because of this double attack path at the top and bottom. You want to spread creep both ways, which means you really need those additional creep tumors, and I think that that can be very, very powerful if utilized effectively. For the moment though, we just got that Reaper out on the ground, 2 in total. The bunker is now coming up. The Overlord going to move back up onto this cliff area, just where it's back in the safety. Double marine production. The factory is there as well. I believe the factory was seen by this Overlord. No, it wasn't, but it sees a tech lab coming down, and a tech lab on the factory. Actually quite interesting. The switch could come down, which would be quite a cool move. We'll wait to see if that does occur, or whether we're just going to go straight to a tank. So this is an interesting playstyle by Polt, especially when the biomine composition is so popular as Terran against Zerg at the moment. Getting some tanks out early actually offers a lot of utility, as I'm coughing and slightly dying to myself there. But on this map as well, tanks are really nice, because you can put them up on the high ground and defend your natural exceptionally easily. And at the same time, behind this, we've got from HyuN the Roach Warren on its way down. He's got his 3rd base coming out, and of course 3rd bases on Neoplanet S aren't that fun to take. But that hasn't stopped Polt getting his third CC out at the same time. It hasn't been scouted by HyuN, and it's a really nice placement of this third CC. He is ready to go and take it over when he wants to, but primarily it's just going to be used to pump out a lot more workers, and also that additional mule. The Overlord is not going to get into a position where he will be able to steer. We've got the Reaper coming in, going to get a nice little scout out. The Reaper coming the other way as well, just to make sure that he knows where that third's coming down, because you do see some Zerg players try and take this third, or maybe a hidden base down in the bottom right. So it's always good to scout around there on a small map. It's easy to do so, especially with the Reapers, and it gets you a bit more utility out of them. The lair timing for HyuN, a little bit late, but that's because he got this roach run out quite soon, so he's getting those roaches out really quite quickly. His evolution chamber is on its way, only a single evo at the moment. Double engineering bay for Polt means that he's going to be going for that double infantry upgrades. Here comes now the switch, so 2 tanks came out and only 2. Stim should get started from this tech lab fairly quickly. We've got the double widow mine production as well, so Hellions have been completely skipped. That's something which, if we look back, if we look at most Terran versus Zerg games, skipping Hellions completely would be somewhat unheard of, but it's actually quite a nice defensive strategy here, especially when Polt has gone for this really quite early third orbital command. So, nice play there. We've got +1 carapace coming down here for HyuN, not really committing to any kind of firm tech choice yet. He does have his lair down, sitting at 3 gases, and his 4th gas should get taken fairly soon, especially if he wants to be going for that Zergling, Baneling, Mutalisk style. And Mutas on this map, actually not too bad, because there's quite a lot of dead space around here, a nice little dead space to come into the natural base, so you can really harass and have quite a nice time. The widow mine placement just in front of this bunker, which means that if speedlings try and push through the wall, they'll take a significant amount of fire from that widow mine. The 4th base and macro hatch starting up here for HyuN. Interesting placement of the macro hatch actually up at his 3rd as opposed to in the main base or natural, so be interesting to see how that plays out for him. Here comes the Baneling nest down. We've got roach speed as well as the Overlord speed upgrades. No sign of Aspire or any kind of good tech choices or tier 2 tech choices yet, just road speed, the only thing really getting research from that lair. The Overlord will have seen now that this orbital command was coming in. This widow mine is going to come and sit down here by the rocks to keep a little eye out in case anything tries to push through. A handful of roaches are on their way across the map, but Polt in terms of units, well, he's not got too much. He's reliant heavily on these 2 tanks, but they're only going to help defend his natural, not this third, and that could be a bit of a target for HyuN if he wants to try and take it out. It could be quite easily achievable. The Baneling speed upgrade is now getting researched, so he could be going for a nice little push. The Overseer granting vision of these widow mines, really important play to make, but these Marines, they can pull back towards the safety of the tank, but it's the 3rd base that HyuN, I think, will try and target. He knows that it's going to be a vulnerability. Some SCVs scouting, transferring down towards that 3rd. We've got a lot of Zerglings in production. Wow, 32 Zerglings on their way out. The work count for HyuN only at 64 at the moment, so he's committing to this push a little before he's completely saturated at all of his bases. He hasn't even taken his 4th gas yet, so this is a very specific timing window he's going for to harass this 3rd, and he's got to do a lot. It's a big roach Baneling hit. It'll time in with +1 ground carapace and Baneling speed. So here we go, the Baneling starting to morph in. We've got 11 in total, only Marines at the moment and those 2 tanks to defend with, and so those 10 Marines have got their work cut out, especially with the fact that these tanks are so reliant on defending up here. There is a nice coverage with these tanks though, also down at this 3rd base, and this wall off down at his entrance, the other entrance to his 3rd is really smart, but the Banelings, they can punch straight through that, and if this 3rd is harassed heavily, HyuN could get some nice damage down. And yeah, here we go, the Overlords just staying ahead. One nice little trick you can use Overlords for is sending them in first to soak up the Widow Mine fire. It's something that Liquid Snoot does very effectively. So here we go, we've got the move in now. The Overlords are going out in front, but the Zerglings are already there. Some detonations starting to go off very soon. There's an Overseer, but in comes the push towards the 3rd base. The tanks getting some shots off, but so many... oh my goodness, those Baneling hits, absolutely catastrophic. So many SCVs went down there. Lovely hit, 22 workers killed here by HyuN. This push has done more than enough damage now. Even if he just pulls back at the moment, he's going to be able to take out quite a few of these supply depots. HyuN did supply block himself there just by sacrificing in those Overlords in front, but my goodness, he's knocked his opponent down to just 46 SCVs to 61 drones. Definitely a very beneficial push. HyuN managed to do a large amount of damage. He only lost a couple of hundred more resources than that of his opponent, but the worker damage, that is what's really going to hurt Polt now. And this 3rd, while it can come down here and try its utmost to get retaken, those SCVs have got to be remade. The Spire now getting started. The 4th, 5th and 6th gas have all been taken. These Marines though, they're coming around. They're going to try and harass the 3rd base, and actually for HyuN, not too much here to defend until these Speedlings pop. So with those Speedlings, he should be able to buy himself enough time, especially with this Overlord placement. He's going to know precisely where it's coming down. These Roaches coming back in though towards this 3rd base. Another SCV going to take him down. A push coming towards the 4th base of HyuN is not going to be very successful. There is no medevacs there at the moment. moment. They are trying to come through. The Banelings actually go the wrong way, unfortunately, so allowing for that pickup. Meanwhile, the third big Baneling hit goes down there on a lot of those Marines, only leaving a handful. The Zerglings should be able to clean that out. The 0-1 upgrades are done at the moment for HyuN. Meanwhile, 2-2 are nearly finished for Polt, so he's got a good upgrade advantage there. He's dropping incredibly heavily, but there was just so many Speedlings, and these Speedlings are just going to be able to clean up these drops ever so effectively. And once the Spire comes down as well, Mutalisks, they're going to really put an end to it. The creep spread could be a bit better. If I'm going to make a criticism of HyuN, it would be just his creep spread could be a little further along. He's leaving these creep tumors inactive for quite a long period of time, and you want to be able to get as much creep coverage as possible, especially on a map like this where there's lots of different attack paths. You want to know where your opponent's army is and be able to get to those different places as quickly as possible. HyuN now just checking around for any hidden bases that could be getting taken. A couple of spine crawlers have been thrown down just to help with the defense. Interestingly, no spore crawlers yet, and that's something which is a little bit surprising. I thought he'd put down a couple of spores just to help defend that, but with his Mutalisks soon to be hitting the field, he should actually be in an okay spot. He's got 112 Zerglings down, 3-3 upgrades now starting straight away for Polt. Really effective play by him on his upgrading front, giving him a solid upgrade advantage, 2-2 over 1-1. These Widow Mines starting to move forward. The creep spread, though, is getting pushed back. Good little scan here coming down from Polt, and his third base is still up and running. He's equalising a little more in terms of the work count, 55 to 70, but he's got the 3 mules. That's the important thing to note, that they do really help level that out. At the same time, we've got the Medevacs, we've got the Marines, we've got the Widow Mines moving forward. The Baneling hits could be big. That's the barrier. Widow Mine get buried in time. Yes, it does, but does not manage to fire off in a quick enough fashion. All the Widow Mines have now been taken out. More Banelings starting to roll forward. Polt splitting very nicely, and that minimises the damage those Banelings will do. At the same time, though, we've got Roaches pushing in towards the third base. A drop at the natural and main. The Banelings do get some much better connections there, though, and these Marines are getting taken out. 3-3 upgrades are quickly coming along up against 1-1. The Orbital Command taking quite a bit of fire. Needs to get lifted relatively quickly here by Polt. Where is all of his attention? He needs to lift that, and he does, and it gets taken out. That is a big win there for HyuN, and that now means the Polt down to just 2 bases up against the 4 of HyuN. HyuN really getting himself into a solid spot here. The Marines, the Marauders coming to try and deal with these Roaches as quickly as they can. The upgrade advantage is there. 3-3 is about half done, and only single upgrades being researched at the moment. The second evolution chamber not being used. The drop still sitting to the side. The army supply, though, very equal. That favours Polt with the upgrade advantage, but it's looking at his army composition. He's only got 6 Widow Mines. Those 2 tanks are still staying in a defense position, but I really feel that Polt, he's going to have to try and be more aggressive with this. He's now up against these Mutalisks as well in the air. One of those Medevacs is likely to go down. There's a Widow Mine there. This Widow Mine is about to get a massive hit, but unfortunately gets taken out before it was able to. A forward Widow Mine does manage to take it out, though. The tank's trying to siege up, but just look at these Speedlings come in. The Banelings coming from behind as well. The Mutalisks are here as well, but any second now, the Banelings are going to start detonating, and there we go. The tank's taken out. There's hardly any Widow Mines remaining. Meanwhile, the Mutalisks engaging those Marines head-on, which is less than ideal, and most of HyuN's forces were taken out there, and it was quite a mutual exchange, actually. If we look at the army supply, still relatively equal, so their losses fairly similar, but the Mutalisks now heading in towards the main base. There is no missile charge here. That means these SCVs are basically free food for these muters. They're going to start doing some damage, trying to push off those medevac reinforcements, but this push, it's coming across the map now. What is Polt going to be able to do? Will he be able to take out this 4th base? He should have a fairly nice time, but there's so many Banelings rolling forward. If you can knock off this 4th, it will help level things out slightly, but in come the Widow Mines, and the 4th is able to stay up, and I just said the Widow Mines were coming in. I meant the Banelings and Zerglings were coming in. I'm just slightly obsessed with Widow Mines at the moment, because boy are they good. Burrowed Roach here as well, just in case the 3rd was going to try and come down, but as we can see, there's no 3rd command center even in production yet for Polt. He's committing a lot to this. HyuN trying to take a 5th base in the center. The Banelings rolling forward. This hatchery starting to get a little lower on health. The Banelings still rolling in. A lot of Banelings go off on that border, unfortunately, though. The Marines take a couple of shots there, but the Mutalisks, they're still just trying to clean up a couple of supply depots, trying to just make sure this 3rd is never going to be secured. More Widow Mines are in production. Drilling Claws hasn't been researched, but 3-3 is now finished for Polt, up against 1-2 upgrades for HyuN. Those Banelings getting kited back very effectively. Good marine control by Polt at the moment. These two both playing really aggressively, and Polt, he's trying to put on the pain. He knows he's on 2 bases, knows he needs to do some damage, and HyuN just trying to survive. If HyuN can hold this off, then I think he's won the game. It's that simple, because he's got the economy behind this to keep him pumping, and he's just got to keep trading, keep making sure that these workers, this basically army count, doesn't get too high. Now we can see that their supplies are exactly equal, but the army supply for Polt quite significantly higher. The fourth base taking a lot of fire, doesn't quite go down, 26 hit points, a good little shot off from that Widow Mine there. The Overseer gets taken out as well by the rest of those Widow Mines. More Zerglings streaming forward, the Banelings starting to roll in. Can they get some good connections? Well, we see that the Marines are going to start falling, no splitting going on here, and this is a big loss there for Polt. We can see those Banelings getting some magnificent connections, and now this is looking to be HyuN's game. Suddenly, Polt with just no splitting on those Marines, losing the majority of his army, and he does have some reinforcements coming in, but HyuN keeping this fourth base alive is just so important for him. He's got good production, he's getting more Mutalisks out once more. The Mutalisk count actually on the field at the moment is 0, so he's relying completely on just a handful of Zerglings and Roaches, and that's actually causing HyuN a problem, because Polt pushing back forward, just literally a few Marines and a Marauder. HyuN knows this base is now likely to go down. The Queen trying to get there to transfuse, but will not be able to get it down before it gets taken out. That means the fourth base does get taken out. There is this gold in the center, which, if Polt hasn't seen this, it would be amazing. But no, there we go. So he has now discovered this center gold base, meaning that it is not going to survive too much longer. That puts HyuN back down on 3 bases. He's mined out in his main all but a few minerals, and this is where things start getting really tense. The third trying to get retaken. The Roach finally taken out after a scan there, so we'll be able to land in the right position, but a couple of Speedlings moving forward. This game getting very, very intense. This must be one of the longest games I have ever seen on Neo Planet S as well, which is saying a lot when it's only at the 22-minute mark, but yeah. This is pretty intense. Polt, he's not out of this yet. Securing this third, really leveling things out. And HyuN now actually not in such a great economical position, having lost his fourth. And that center base is massively oversaturated at this third. And there's a push coming in, a good number of Widow Mines here. The upgrade advantage is what's allowing Polt to do this. 3-3 up against 2-2. It's what's letting him trade so well against his opponent. Nearly 10,000 more resources lost by HyuN compared to Polt. The Mutalisks trying to do a little bit of poking, a little bit of prodding, but those Widow Mines are going to be a threat. The Banelings trying to roll in. They do get some nice connections there, and now the Medevacs are going to get focused down by these Mutalisks. Got to be careful when chasing, especially when there's a lot of Widow Mines around. One gets taken out there. Nice little move there by HyuN. You want to keep that Widow Mine count as low as possible. Marine reinforcements are going to start coming forward. We'll be able to pick off a good number of those Mutalisks, and a couple more are going to go down as well. HyuN can't afford to throw away Mutas like this. They're so expensive at this stage of the game, especially when his income's not looking too good. He hasn't attempted to try and retake his fourth base. Both of these two players really starve for resources, but Polt, he's got this third back up and running. That means it's equal bases with the Zerg. Speedlings coming for a big push though into here. There's no Widow Mines, just a handful of Marines. All the Widow Mines up to the top position, and in come the Zerglings, in come the Mutalisks. They're going to try and do a nice little bit of damage here, and straight away the lift goes down, but many an SCV are going to die. The Banelings are rolling forward, and here comes the Baneling hit that Polt most certainly would not want to occur, and a lot of SCVs are going to go down, but his natural base has been taken up to this fourth position, so he's got another mining base there. The Mutalisks going to try and do some damage to this orbital command. Ideally want to take it out. These Zerglings, though, doing a little bit of trading with the Marines in the centre. Not going to come off too well. At the same time, a push coming towards the third base of HyuN. But the Zerglings, the Banelings, are going to come and intercept this. The Widow Mines take some big hits, and the Zerglings and Banelings are going to start moving in. Meanwhile, this orbital command is going to fall. That knocks down Polt to just one orbital command. So he doesn't even have a huge number of mules to make this work. This game is so close at the moment. HyuN, I feel, has still just got the edge, especially if you can get this fourth base up and running, because it's just one mule. The SCV count really low, 70 drones to 26 SCVs, and while that does saturate this this new mining base quite happily, once this fourth is up, HyuN should have a much better economy going for him, but the pressure is not going to stop. Polt, he's going to keep pushing forward, moving on up and in. The Zerglings, the Banelings need another good connection, but there are those Widow Mines there. They can start getting some good hits off, and now only a handful of Marines remain. Where are all the reinforcements? Here they come streaming in for HyuN at the moment. The Widow Mines have detonated. Where are the Overseers? That's the problem. The Overseer is just on its way forward, ready to start picking up those Widow Mines. Unfortunately, the Banelings detonate on them, which is not something that you want to do. You want to keep those Banelings purely for those Marines. Still no 3-3 upgrades for HyuN. He just hasn't got the money to do it. He's got so much gas, but so few minerals. This fourth base now up and running is going to help him quite substantially, but his third is nearly mined out. At the same time, this new base to the left position for Polt is really keeping him in this game. Everything to play for both of these two players at the moment, and they are playing for it. They are really going so strong at each other here. The Zerglings, the Banelings still waiting. 10 more Banelings are morphing in. The Widow Mines are sitting there. Quite a few Widow Mines get taken out, but a great pickup from Polt. Such good reactions there, making sure that he keeps those Widow Mines alive as long as possible. He really needs those to trade cost effectively. A couple of Marines are coming down towards this fourth base, but Zergling's going to try and intercept them. There's no medevac medevac support here as well, so that means stimming has to be done very cautiously. Some good baning connects at the same time. The medevacs are tempting their way forward in towards this third. This is, well, 24 workers up against 70 drones, so that means the Quantic HyuN does have a really big worker advantage. He's trying to get out more units, but he's not mining very much from this third. He's got a huge amount of gas, but it's the minerals that are the problem for him. He doesn't even have enough money to make another base, so this is getting really tense. The spine crawlers are still picking away. HyuN hasn't really been able to take a categorizing lead. The widow mines do detonate on 2 banelings alone, but there's quite a few roaches here with the overseer there. The widow mines are picked off. The rocks getting taken out now. The marines starting to push forward. We need some more banelings here for HyuN, but Polt, he's just dominating at the moment. He is pushing forward. He's going to take out this hatchery, probably the other one as well. At the same time, though, we see that HyuN, he's going to go for potentially a counter-attack. He's running into some Zerglings further in front, just one at a time, making sure that he keeps that up. The third base will fall, but the fourth is up and running. There's a fifth base to the bottom right. The Polt doesn't know about it at the moment. At the same time, Zerglings have made it in to the only mining base of Polt at the moment. He is picking off a good number of these SCVs, and he's got to just keep that up. The Roach is starting to move forward as well here. A couple of reinforcements on their way forward, but only a handful of Marines here at the fourth base. Zerglings trying to stream across, trying to pick these off. The drone's getting pulled as well, and let's face it, HyuN does have a good few to spare, and now the Roaches are getting picked off. The stutter step micro coming in, but the worker count for Polt down to just only 14 SCVs. Up to 58 drones of HyuN. This bottom right base, if he can secure that, it could be game changing. The SCVs on their way back. There's enough energy for a couple of mules, but still, Polt, he's down to just 59 supply to 77 of HyuN, so neither of these two players are in a sensational position. A couple of Marines are going to get caught out of position here by the Zerglings if HyuN pulls them back, and I'm surprised he doesn't. There goes down the stem. He's attacking those roaches, but instead the Zerglings heading straight towards the main base. They want to start taking out some of these production facilities, but will not be able to get in with good reactions. The Marines now coming back, and unfortunately those Zerglings just getting slaughtered as they come head to head with those stim Marines. Now this bottom right base, though, that's starting to mine. That's giving HyuN a good advantage in terms of the income. Look at that. His gas income way better, even though he's got a huge bank of it anyway. The mineral income, though, 3 times greater for the Zerg compared to the Terran player. That is the sort of advantage that wins you in a game at this late, really rough like skirmishes, that you've got to try and win them all. And in terms of being cost effective, well, that's one thing Polt's got going for him. Those 3-3 upgrades have been his lifeline this game. HyuN just unable to take it out. We've got a single medevac drop coming in towards the main base. There is some tech up here, but the spawning pool is the only thing really that HyuN is utilising a lot. He's going to need to pull back units to come and defend, but straight away with those Zerglings on the way forward. But the push from the bottom of the map as well. This is Polt just trying to utilise every aspect of this map, every different attack path. The Marines in the main doing a nice job. The Queen trying to engage them but not doing too well. Some Baneling connections are starting to go down. Polt down to just 62 supply. More Banelings morphing in. The medevacs though doing a nice job. The push in the main doing some nice damage. The Zergling counter push though doing even more. All of the SCVs getting annihilated here. And if we look at the SCV count, only 2 remain. Only 1 left on the field. Polt has to deal some critical damage here, but I just don't see him being able to do it. I think HyuN has finally managed to win this game, but boy, what a close game this was. Polt, he is down to pretty much nothing. He does still have slightly more army supply, but it's just so split up, and HyuN, he is just going to be able to keep pumping out more and more units. More Banelings are morphing, and he'll get to the point where there's just going to be more Banelings on the field than there are Marines. 32 Marines up against 12 Banelings at the moment. 2 more morphing in, more Zerglings constantly in production. The Marine, this bottom right base has probably won the game for HyuN at the moment. We can see that the Overseers are being very proactive. You've got to know where those Widow Mines are. A couple of big Widow Mines hit could break this position for HyuN. He needs to make sure that he doesn't lose large chunks of the Zerglings and Banelings to the splash damage, because that could be devastating to his position. This drop is still sitting around in the main. The spawning pool is still up, and there's only 4 Marines here, so can get cleaned out quite easily by a small number of Zerglings. The empty extractor getting focused down. The orbital command trying to come in here, but a burrowed Zergling. Such a smart move, especially when this orbital command is flying, so the scan can't go off because there is only the one there for the time being. The lair getting focused down, but more Zerglings on the way forward. A couple of Overseers getting caught out of position. This orbital command is like, well, if you're going to block that base, I'll go and take the other one. The Marines have finally been taken out. Polt down to just 41 supply. HyuN pumping out more and more and more Zerglings. 3-3 upgrades still haven't been researched for HyuN. He just hasn't had the money for it. But he's starting to get himself into quite a nice spot at the moment, I must say. He's got quite a nice bank, especially on the gas front. He just needs to keep that minerals income coming, and he should be fine. Another drop coming towards the main, where all the Zerglings and Banelings, well, they're running down here, trying to engage in the center. Can the Banelings get some nice connections? Not at the moment. Good splitting so far from Polt, and that means that he keeps most of those alive, but this Orbit Command is getting annihilated. That was the last Orbit Command available for Polt. That means he's not going to get any more income this game because he doesn't have enough to make another one, and he only has the one SCV anyway, so this not looking too good. The spawning pool trying to get focused down. HyuN pulling back all of his army, and as long as he takes this out, he should win the game. There's Polt, he's down to 18 supply to 122, and Polt, GG, that was the game, and that was such an intense match. I hope you all enjoyed that as much as I did. It was pretty epic, I thought. And yeah, if you enjoyed it, make sure you like the video, leave a cool comment, and of course subscribe. I get new games out daily, so I'll catch each and every one of you tomorrow for yet another new cast. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.